Hey, how's it going, everyone? Gonna kick off for another evening of hacks and breaking stuff and watching me be dumb. We are going to do more micro-corruption tonight. We're very much getting down to the pointy end of it now, actually. What are we up to? It's not what I wanted. There we go. Bangalore. So we did Lagos the other night. Lagos was an adventure. If you haven't seen it, check out the archive video. I'm sure I made it harder than it had to be, and I said that a lot on the night. But it was basically a stack buffer overflow with a severely limited character set that we were allowed to use. We could use alphanum characters and nothing else. So what we put on the stack had to be pure alphanum, and there was a lot of juggling various bits and pieces to basically make that work for us. One more thing, I did do a whole bunch of playing with audio levels and stuff earlier tonight, so please holler in the chat if you can't hear me, if the music's too loud, if the music's too quiet. We can tweak that with 15 seconds of delay working against us until it works out. How's everyone going? Been a good start to the week for everyone? And Lana, if you're there, I'm really keen to know what's for dinner. You did say it's dinner time. I had a burrito bowl, and I want to know what you had. So you've got one job, if you're here. If you're not here, everyone tell Lana she had one job when she turns up, and don't tell her what the job was. Huh. Probably should have tested my Docker container worked before the stream started. Alright, so I can ping out. What have I done wrong? I think I know what this might be. Let me just try something real quick. Technical issues. Alright, there we go. Fixed. I did not have my IP table set up on my host to actually pass packets back and forth. Rookie mistake. Someone blowing up my pager. Yeah, Lana, one job. Put this phone on mute. Alrighty, micro-corruption. That. Whoops. Something else I should have checked before the stream started. Is my YubiKey working? Nope. Cool. Alright, that's back to that. Yep, cool. Alrighty, second technical issue of the night. Hopefully there's only two of them. My YubiKey wasn't being spoken to properly. Had to restart the smart card demon. The joys of computers. Alrighty, so we're up to Bangalore. We've done all these. If you haven't been joining us for micro-corruption, this is definitely getting to the pointy end. But the idea behind the challenge is micro-corruption. By the way, someone please, I've got trust issues. Someone please let me know that the audio is okay, because I'm worried. Micro-corruption is a web-based binary series, so it is embedded device binary exploitation. The narrative is you get a series of levels, and when you first sign up, only the tutorial, maybe New Orleans, is open, and as you progress through, more and more cities open up. And so it's good. Okay, sweet. Thank you. Let's duck into Bangalore. What you get with each level is this changelog here, explaining the deal with the lock that you're working on, how it may have changed from previous versions. And then once you enter the level, you get a web-based debugger. So even though it's a web page, it's not a web challenge. It's very much a binary challenge. So you get a disassembly of the code that is running on the lock that you are trying to unlock. You can click on it and set breakpoints, which is what happened there accidentally. You get a flat dump of memory, so you can just kind of poke through, and in the live dump of memory you get these two little red indicators. SP points to where the stack currently is, PC points to where the program counter currently is. Well, it's lovely to have you here, Jardeth, but yeah, apologies if especially because it's getting to the pointy end, I'm having a harder time explaining my thought process because I'm mostly focusing on actually trying to solve stuff. We'll see how we go. And by the way, not all the previous microcorruption, a lot of them kind of got purged to the ether, but some of them I've actually migrated from. Well, the one from the other night and all of Menstrual's web CTF, I've gone and shunted across to YouTube so they won't be deleted from Twitch. So if you haven't caught Menstrual's web CTF or the Lagos level of microcorruption, you can head to my VODs for now, but they'll start to be purged when the 2-week timer runs out. They're over on YouTube now. You get a flat dump of memory you can poke through. You get an idea of where the stack pointer and the program counter are. You get the ability to see what the state of the registers is. The program counter is analogous to the instruction pointer, IP, on Intel, or EIP on 32-bit, RIP on 64-bit. The program counter points to the next instruction that will be executed by the CPU. You get a stack pointer. The stack pointer is analogous to the stack pointer on Intel. Points to where in memory the stack currently is. You get some status registers, which gets used for compares, jumps, conditional branching kind of stuff. You get CG. I don't know what CG is. We haven't had to use it yet. I'm not too sure what CG is. You get a bunch of general purpose registers, R4 through R15. These are analogous to EAX, EBX, ECX, and so on Intel. Some of the functions that get called have parameters passed through register 15 and register 14. Some of them have functions, arguments passed on the stack. So sometimes 15 and 14 are pretty interesting. The rest are just mostly general purpose. You get a look at what the current instruction going to be executed is. We can have a look at it here, or we can have a look at it here. Same thing, two different locations. You get a debugger console where we can get some help output. If we go and whack help in there, we get some debugger instructions, commands. We can set breakpoints. We can tell the program to continue. We can tell the program to do certain things through the debugger console. We get an IO console. This is where the lock speaks to us and asks us for things like passwords. We also get this pop-up that pops up that we can put answers into. That's basically how the debugger works. We then get a manual. I'm getting pretty good at this walkthrough. I've done it enough already. But I want to make sure that anyone who's new or checking this out for the first time isn't too lost with what's going on. You get given a manual for the lock. It speaks about how it runs on an MSP430, which is a real Texas Instruments chip. I'm not sure if it's actually emulated in JavaScript or if this kind of gets posted to a server where it gets emulated server side, but the whole thing is modeled on the MSP430 16-bit CPU from Texas Instruments. Manual goes on to give us a table of contents, introduction, MSP430, talks about the Bluetooth chip so you can configure it remotely, but that's just part of the narrative. Bluetooth isn't actually part of the challenge. Talks about how there's no default password set. You kind of put one in yourself. It's fine. We don't get to choose that password. That's already been done as far as the narrative's concerned. The lock supports a whole bunch of software interrupts to basically have the software trigger real-world things like asking for input, giving output through print statements, triggering the hardware security modules, triggering the deadbolt, and so on. There's apparently memory protection, which we'd have to with only 2 levels or 3 levels left to go, because I've never finished. I have done all these before in a past life a couple of years ago. I never got Hollywood finished. It's horrible. With only 2 levels left, we're probably going to be dealing with memory protection, things like DEP and NX shortly. So it's got an implementation of NX that is basically the execute or writable style of NX. So hopefully we'll see this crop up shortly. The manual goes on to talk about the lock itself. It's a deadbolt attached to software interrupt OX7F. So if we can cause the software or the CPU to trigger software interrupt OX7F, that's how we win the level. There's two different HSMs that can be attached to the lock, and the HSMs are black box bits of hardware. What they do is they are responsible for holding onto the password. When we give a password to the CPU that we think might be correct, the CPU sends the password to the HSM, so that way the password's not hard-coded into memory, which is how we were getting past the first few levels, by just pulling the password out of memory. So the password's stored in the HSM, and by looking at this memory dump, you can't see the memory of the hardware security module. HSM1 is triggered by interrupt OX7D, and the HSM1, when it gets fed a correct password as determined by its own logic, it will set a flag in the CPU's memory to say, yep, it's correct, or no, it's not, and then it's up to the CPU to trigger the unlock based on that flag. The HSM2 is different. It does not set a flag in memory when the password is correct. It automatically unlocks the door. It works on a different same, yep, so different interrupt number. OX7E is the interrupt number for HSM2. We've been seeing a lot of the HSM2 in these later levels. The manual goes on to give examples of code that the developers would have written to implement the software that runs the lock of each level. And obviously there's going to be likely a memory corruption bug somewhere in this software that then gets compiled down to this lovely blob of code. So the developers would have written this. This is just given as a bit of an example. We don't actually get to see the code that they wrote. The manual goes on to discuss the standard C library implemented on the device. Pretty analogous to the standard C library. Pretty comparable, I should say. It gives a list of software interrupts, the ones that really interest us. I mean, we're probably going to see interrupt 10 to do with DEP come along shortly. We might see RAND for ASLR or something come in shortly. OX7D is the HSM1, OX7E is the HSM2. What we are interested in is OX7F, which will unlock the deadbolt, which is what we want to achieve on each level. The manual goes on to discuss some assembly basics and then gives an assembly reference, and that's what you get. So we'll keep the manual open and refer to it as we need to. I think that's about all. We also get this little assembler, disassembler that we can go and punch code or bytes into and turn them back and forth from assembly to bytecode. I think that's really all we need to know about. Let's head back to the main page, head back into this level, and read the changelog. Yeah, nice work. Thanks, Barney. Jardeth, hit me up later. I think I've got copies of the old videos somewhere. I just don't really want them public because I was pretty rusty. I'm still pretty rusty, but I was especially rusty back in the day. So hit me up, Jardeth, and I'll hook you up with the old copies if you're interested. Changelog for the level we are on. Here we go. It's the first ever to have memory protection. So we will be dealing with DEP. The lock is attached to the HSM2. This looks pretty standard, pretty standard, pretty standard. HSM2 is pretty standard. The engineers have worked for over a year to bring memory protection to the MSP 430. Each of the 256 pages can be either executable or writable, but never both. Finally bringing to a close some of the issues in prior versions. So we're definitely dealing with, yeah, a execute or write mode of DEP. So where we used to be able to write shellcode to the stack and jump straight to it, we can't do that anymore. Also, because it's a HSM2, there'll probably not be code in the actual in memory to send a interrupt 7F, which was the deadbolt. That is because the HSM2 is responsible for doing the unlock. It's not the CPU that's responsible for doing the unlock. So why would there be code for an int 7F? We might be lucky, they may give us one, but I doubt it. So so let's dive into the code. We start off here, blah blah blah. And somewhere in here, oh no, I was going to say somewhere in here that might be setting up dep, but in main there's a call to set up protection, followed by a call to login. So set up protection, where is that? Here it is. It's got calls to make page executable, make page writable, mark page I should say. Set up protection, oh it's probably just jumping back a bit and looping through this bit here. It's got another one for executable. It's got another loop backwards and then a call to turn on dep. Turn on dep is going to send that interrupt OX10 to enable dep. These two functions here, writable and executable, is going to okay, that wasn't interrupt OX10. It's interrupt for dep. It is OX10. What's that OX10? That's just the trap. Anyway, I'm not too worried about exactly how they implement the turning on of dep. We might need to be later. But anyway, we don't really have execution influence at all at this point, so as far as we care, they're really just turning dep on. So we go back up to main, and we see the next call is to login. So we hit the login, and here it is. It's just subtracting from the stack pointer. It's moving OX2400 to R15 and calling puts. So what's that 2400? Nothing. Then what is it putsing? Let's just set a breakpoint on that puts and see if memory gets populated. Breakpoint here. We'll do a... Where do we decide is the best place for the video? Bottom right, we reckon? Yeah, it's probably safest. So we'll run the lock. Okay, so this breakpoint on the puts got hit, and now we can see we've got some stuff at 2400. So that must have got unpacked somewhere in here, maybe. No, I doubt that would have been put there by the HSM. I doubt it. Because for the HSM to be activated, we really need to call interrupt 7E or 7D, I think it was. Yeah, 7E for the HSM too. Which I can't even see an interrupt 7E anywhere. There's no 7E in this code. Is this lock lying to us? What's this? Okay, so we've got conditional unlock door. They're just clearing register 15 and returning. The conditional unlock door is not getting called anyway. What a bizarre level. What they're doing is they're calling a puts and the password to continue. Remember, password between 8 and 16 characters. Yep, okay, so they're putsing this string here. Then they're putsing this string here with these two putses. Then they move the stack pointer to register 15, move an OX30 to register 14, do a gets n to request some input. Then they move 2465 to register 15, which is this here, and doing a puts. So no matter what you put in, you can't win, according to the logic in the program. There's actually no password checking going on here. I mean, am I crazy, or are they not even checking the password? Is there no way to legitimately unlock this door? Got people blowing up my pager. Let me just make sure everything's okay. being jerks. So I mean, we've probably got a bug here with this get send of 30 characters to the stack. We're probably going to override a save return pointer. Like if we just continue, put in AAAA. If we set a breakpoint on the ret of login and continue, hit the breakpoint, then the save return point is here. Oh, AAAA is here, and we can give up to OX30 characters, so we can clearly smash the stack pointer, or sorry, the save return pointer. So there's a bug, there's a stack buffer overflow, there's a save return pointer overwrite. We've got to work within dep, but there's no code to check the HSM at all, nor code to unlock the door, which is just bizarre. Kind of breaks the fourth wall a bit when you can't imagine how the lock would even work in the first place. Anyway, how many A's do we need to send? We need to send 16 characters to fill this space here, and then 2 more for the save return pointer overwrite. So we'll reset, we'll continue. Let's kick off a Python script. So we want 16 A's, which is just padding. This will be overwrite. Question mark. Print the buff. Grab that. Chuck it in there. Is that breakpoint still set? Yep. Continue to the breakpoint. We can see we're about to do a ret. About to return to CC. So we'll step, and there we go, PC control. I knew you were. I did it for you, Barney. I totally did that for you. One job, Lana. One job. What was for dinner? That wasn't the job. That I'm just genuinely curious. That was the job to let us know what dinner was. Maybe you're too busy eating to type. Okay, so we've got a save return point override, we've got PC control, and dep is turned on. So what are we going to do with this? Considering there's no... how do interrupts normally work? There's a call gate at address OX10, which causes a software interrupt. The interrupts are described below. We're looking at pepper, rock salt, and chili pork chops with yum. That sounds good. Yeah, there is a delay. I should have known better. That sounds good. How are interrupts called? Like, for example, put char is going to put a character. So the put char interrupt is 00, probably a bad choice, which sends a single byte to the display. Takes one argument with the character to print. Like, I reckon this is going to be like a straight up ret to libc-ish sort of thing, but instead of that it's like a ret to call gate. Does the call gate take stuff on the stack? Like put char. Gets and puts. How are these interrupts actually working? I'm just going to duck out of this level, duck into another one to try and understand how interrupts work. Let's go back to Lagos. Because I know there's an interrupt function in here. Yeah. So let's pinch this here. So that's what interrupt looks like as a function. Let's see how it's called. So for example, put char. Alright, so when putchar wants to put a character, which is interrupt 0, it pushes the null byte, pushes the character to print, and then it moves what's in R15 to the stack pointer +4. Isn't that the same as this? Isn't it the same as this? Hang on. Let's just go to Lagos. Let's put a breakpoint on putchar and run. Where was my breakpoint? Right, okay. Puts does not call putchar in this level. Put a breakpoint on puts. So I'm going to go to puts stuff. R15 probably points to what we're putsing. So 4470. So we're going to be the first thing we're going to do is put in the character E, which is 45. So let's step through this. We do a push, we do a move, R15, R11. We jump to 674. Just moving what's at R11 to R15. So this should become 45 for capital E. There it is. We test the byte. I guess we're making sure that it's not null, which would be the end of the string. We jump if it's not 0 to 4666. At 4666, we increment R11, which is probably a counter, like an index into the string. We sign extend 15, which is interesting. In this case, sign extending capital E does nothing. We push it. We push 0, and we call the interrupt. So the stack, when we call interrupt, has is that a safe return pointer? You know, that I thought that was the other way around then. Yeah, we push the character. Okay, so no, we push the character, then we push null. Yep. So here's our save return pointer back to the puts. We're currently in the interrupt function. This is the interrupt that we want to chuck. This is the character we want to print. And what does int do? Moves what's at 2 from the stack pointer into R14. Is that just grabbing the character? Maybe. Nope. I was grabbing the interrupt number. So register 14 is the interrupt number. We push SR. We move 14 to 15, so we're moving that null to here. We swap the bytes in R15. Let's keep that in mind. Didn't make a difference in this case because it's interrupt 0. We move 15 to the status register. We BIS. Is that just a bit math thing? Okay, sets bits. It's the same as an OR. Oop. Alright, so we're setting some bits in the status register. Then we call 10. So it seems to me like the interrupt number we want to call actually happens via the status register. Like, what if we just blasted this and turned it something nonsensical? Would things break? Just let status register be something garbage. And if we step, do we still get our E? Where's... Or we just... Or we set a breakpoint here and continue. Ah, stop jumping around on me. Really? Looks like we did not get our output. If we continue now, do we get the whole string without the first E? Or if things just broken because that status register didn't make sense. I don't know why stuff's jumping around on me. Yeah, I think things have gone sideways because of that FFFF. Alright, so it looks like... I'll stop it. Looks like interrupts are actually passed via the status register. using the status register here for enabling and disabling interrupts. The manual will talk about interrupts. Yep. Okay. I mean, this level calls the HSM, yeah. I want to see what the status register looks like when you call the HSM, because there was that weird ORing with OX 8000. Conditional unlock door. Yeah, so I want to break on this call here. Alright, so we step into interrupt. Arguments have been passed on the stack, I think. Yep, so interrupt 7E. And I'm guessing that this here is a pointer to our password that we put in, maybe 43EC. No. To say return pointer, yeah. 43. Oh yeah, 43EC. It's this here, ASDF, yep. So that's the pointer to the password we gave. Nope, that's the pointer to the password we gave. Here's the interrupt number. Okay, so let's step through interrupt. So register 14 becomes the interrupt number. We push the status register. We move 14 to 15. Swap the bytes in 15, so it becomes, I'm guessing 7E00, yep. Move that to the status register. We then OR it with OX 8000, so I'm guessing this is going to become like FE. Yep, FE. Then we call OX 10. So if that's how the HSM2 is triggered, which is interrupt 7E, which takes one argument, unlocking the deadbolt, which takes no arguments, which means you don't need to put stuff on the stack, is interrupt 7F, which I can imagine we just need to set the status register to FF00 and then call OX10. Let's make a note of this. Int is interrupt number is specified via SR. For example, int OX7E equals, or you make the status register to be equal to OXFE00. So 7F is going to be FF00. Then call OX10. Alrighty, so this would be one way about going about unlocking the door. If we could achieve that without actually putting any code on the stack, it would be sweet. Because I mean, I'm guessing if the dep is actually implemented well, there'll be nowhere in memory that is writable and executable. if there was such a page that was writable and executable, we could just probably return into getSen, write some shellcode out somewhere else in memory. If we could parameterize it safely, and then jump to that area in memory. But if the NX implementation is sound, there'll be nowhere that we can write to then execute. So, I mean, I reckon this here might be the way to go. Does something ref that access granted string? Good question, Pritch. Access granted, what's this at? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is, yeah, capital A. It's going to be 49.95, 49.96. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 49.95. Find 4995. Nope. Find 9549. Nope. As opposed to this this capital T here for that, which is at 45A5. Find 45A5. Nope. A545. That's just blown my idea out of the water anyway. I think these strings get copied somewhere else. Set a breakpoint on the ret. Actually, don't even need to do that. Let's continue, and then wait. Alright, so they get copied to here. Access granted is at 24. Let's go to the T because we know that gets referenced. 2460. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2465. Fine, 2465. Yep, so that gets referenced. That password is not correct, gets referenced. This capital A is at 2455. There's no hits for 24. Is there any for 55, 24? No. Yeah, no, I don't think it gets. I don't think access granted gets referenced at all, Pritch. It's a bit of a useless lock. Well, it's a good lock. It's keeping everyone out, including the people who should be in the building. All right. So what are we doing? Find all the references to OX10. None of those look useful. They all hard code the status. I was hoping for like a pop SR and then a call OX10, but there's none there. They're all hard coding the status register. Do we need to write shellcode to the stack? Rop into mark page executable to make the page executable and then execute the stack. Maybe. I reckon mark page executable is parameterized via registers though.
You sexy beast. You sexy beast.
So look at this. So we're clearing register 15, marking the page executable, putting 1 in R11, moving R11 to R15, making it writable, incrementing R11, comparing to OX44, J&E to E8. So this here is going to loop and set the first 44 pages as writable. So look at how dev works. So there's a interrupt to enable the protection, and there's interrupts to specify whether a given page should be executable or writable. So I'd say when you do one, it flips the other bit off. When you do the other, it flips the other bit off. So it's on a page basis. Okay, so interrupt 11 marks pages of writable, executable or writable. Takes two one arguments. The first is the page number. The second is 1 if writable, and 0 if executable. Page number. We're told, is there 256 pages? Yep. What's the size of memory? 16 bits. Okay, so each page is 256 bytes. Yeah, bytes. 256 bytes large. So when you, for example, when you set the first page writable, it does from OX0 to OXFF. The code is setting how many pages writable? .44. Really? Ugh. That makes sense. 4,400. So everything up to here gets marked writable. Unless I'm off by 1. Let's go with that. But I'm guessing, I mean, it'd be nice if we could write to here, just put some shellcode there. It's going to get called anyway for the next interrupt, but I'm guessing this is a non-writable location. and then everything else up to OX100, which is 256, gets marked executable. Based on what's in R11. Because like from here onwards, we've got move what's in R11 to R15, make it executable, increment R11, if it's at the top of memory, then turn on dep and finish the function, otherwise loop back. So what is the value of R11 when we get control via the return to the smash save return pointer? Set a breakpoint here on login. Go SDF. Continue to the ret. Time of the return, R11 is 0. And the stack is less than 4400, so the stack is writable but not executable. What if we just return to, with our smash save return pointer, this? It's going to put R11, which is 0, in R15, make the 0th page executable, increment R11, compare it to 100, OX100, loop, basically walk through all of memory, making all of memory executable again. Like we don't have to run this whole function. We can just use this basically this ROP gadget here, which this ROP gadget is turn everything from R11 onwards in terms of page numbers executable, and R11 is currently 0. So we just return to here. It's at 4400 or above, so it's executable already. We can just execute this to basically make all the memory executable, including the stack. And then at the end of, for this ret here, we just have to make sure the stack gets returned to. Then we should be able to execute it. Let's come back to that. Let's just see what happens when we basically trigger dep, a dep violation. So the stack, so the save return pointer is here. So the very next byte after the save return pointer, which we can overwrite, is at 3F. It's at 3FF0 plus OX10 is going to be 4000. So like, what if we overwrote the save return pointer with hex 00, hex 40? There's no question there anymore, that is the save return pointer overwrite. And then buff plus equals just do a couple of pop R11s times 4. So this here, when we run this, or when we send this to the server or to the lock, if you get some padding, we should get a save return pointer overwrite, which will then attempt to execute a whole bunch of, was it pop R11? Yeah. And this here should be a dep violation, because we shouldn't be able to execute stuff on the stack like that. So we copy that, reset the CPU, continue, don't need that breakpoint, continue, continue to the ret. So here's our ret, it's going to return to OX 4000 once it goes little endian, which is here, which is some shellcode for pop R11, pop R11, pop R11, pop R11. So if we step The program counter goes to 4,000. You can see it's about to execute these here. Do we have any complaints down here? No. But if we step into that pop, then we get a segfault, cannot execute write-only page. So that's what it looks like when we fail. When dep basically kills us, we get a segfault. Right. Now, instead of returning straight to the stack, what if we return to, as we said before, the tail end of this setup protection here? Basically the move R11 to R15, make it executable, and then do that for all of memory. So at 44 F6, which is F644, F6 44, that's a pointer to make all pages from page number R11 onwards executable. Once this gets returned to and then executes, there's a return. We'll call this a gadget. It's a pretty beefy gadget. Once this gadget returns, we need a safe return. We need a return pointer on the stack for it to return to. Which will be what it used to be, +4, because we've got an extra pointer. So this here will be the pointer to the gadget. This here will be the pointer to here. So this pointer has to be 4002. And then here will be our shellcode. So it'll be 0240 in Little Endian. 02 hex 40. Then we'll bank our shellcode, pop R11 times 4. Good enough test. Let's run that, copy it, reset, hexadecimal, continue. So here's our ret. So we're going to ret to 44F6, and we'll step. Yep, so we're going to move R11 to R15. R11 is 0. We're going to mark page executable. Oh, hang on, we need a bit set in. Oh no, mark page executable should only take one parameter, and mark page executable should set up the execute bit for us. Yes, it will. So let's go next to step over that. And we're going to then increment R11 next. R11 is now 1. Going to compare it to OX100. Next. Jump if not equal. Back up here and loop through. Next. What just happened? This call here is going to try and probably push her. What happened there? R11's run away on me. I tried to step next through a looping thing and it tried to step out of the loop. Alright, so what's happening here is we're probably trying to write a safe return pointer, which we're not allowed to do anymore because we've made that page executable. It was too good to be true. Yeah, because R11 has made its way up to OX40, which would just finishing making this page here executable. and it's made the stack non-writable, so the call won't work anymore. Alright, worth a shot. It was worth a red hot go. Do we have a pop R15 red gadget? Probably not, because R15 is used to parameterize stuff. I'm going to move R14, R15. Let's see what we look like at the time of when we return to the smash save return pointer. Let's reset this. Continue. A B C D. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. I want to reset. Let's do a bunch of A's. Turn this off. Continue to the ret. So at the time of the ret, do we control any registers? Nope. There was no popping, just an adding here. We're returning to main. Does main do any popping and retting? Nope. Just clears register 15 and then stops the CPU. Alright, so I don't control any registers per se. So look at our gadgets. Remove R14, R15 ret. Got a pop R11. Ooh, a pop R11 ret. That's interesting. That's so interesting, we're going to make a note of it. Rock chains indeed. Who's not well? Oh, Jardeth, that's... I'm sure you're long gone now, by now, but I hope you get better. That's super neat there. We'll keep that in mind. That's useless. That's useless. That's useless. Another pop R15, pop R11 ret. We've got a clear 15 ret. Could be handy, let's keep that one in mind. I really like that pop R11 ret though. That's useless. So pop R11 ret, that would what that would let us do is populate where this loop starts off at. Because here's our save return point overwrite, which is conveniently on a page border. Like, what if we use that to get to... Oh, actually, hang on. Yeah, we've got, okay, so this pop R11 ret, let's make a note of this other gadget. This gadget here. like this here lets us populate where this loop starts off. So we can make something that was writable become executable. And we basically straddle a page border with our stack here. So initially everything below 4400 is writable, everything at and above it is executable. So I mean, what if we were to basically, I bet getSend is parameterized by registers. Yep. getSend is parameterized by R15. We didn't get an R15, we had R11 control. We didn't have R15 control, did we? We got move 14 to 15. Make a note of that. Why not? At the time of where we get control, we've got A in 14 already. Where did that come from? Is that the number of characters we gave? A, B, C, D. No, doesn't seem to be. Where'd R14 come from? Is the number of characters just printed? Nope. Did puts put something in it? Nope, unless the interrupt did. Or just print that password is not correct. There's no OA there. I just don't want to start to rely on that and have it change from underneath me. I want to find out where it comes from. Set a breakpoint on the puts. SDF. So at the time of the puts, it's OX30. Step through this. So the put char changed it. Because puts prints a new line at the end, OXA there, and put char leaves whatever character was just printed in R14. So because we know that we just had a new line printed as part of the puts, that's where this OX0A, which is the new line character, comes from. Okay, so that is reliable. We can count on R14 being A. does that do for us? What can we do with R14? Oh, we can use R14 to control R15. Did I already know that? Yeah, I already knew that. I knew that. What does that give us? So I want to get those registers at the time of the crash again. So here's the ret. Let's grab this. Can Nap learn this too? Cool, good to have you around, Fast Char. See you soon, eh? Mania, how's it going? I haven't seen you around here before. Thanks for dropping in. R14 doesn't seem to. I mean, it's already got A in it, but we can move that to 15. We want to write some code to somewhere writable, then make it executable, then go to it. Because I don't think we're going to get control of SR to do a ret to OX10. Okay, getSend takes two parameters. R15 for where you want to write, R14 for how many bytes. What if we move R14 to R15, make them both OXOA, return to getSend, put some stuff there. Hopefully R15 will... What does getSend put in R15? Let's just... What does getSend do? Yeah, Mania. Thanks, Barney. I did a Windows. Barney's just linked it. It's a Windows thing. It's a Windows binary with a humongous PDF that was a huge pain in the butthole to write as to how to achieve this kind of stuff on Windows. So that might be an introduction as to how some of these concepts work, especially the stack buffer overflows. But apart from that, microcorruption, like I'm in the very pointy end of the levels here. I'm at the third to last level. Let me just pop this in a new tab. There's a stack of levels. I'm up to Bangalore. If you work through these levels here, you should learn quite a bit as well. They start off pretty easy, more towards the reverse engineering, then they get towards the exploitation. And here at the end, we're talking about exploitation with exploit mitigations in place. We're currently up against DEP. So microcorruption is fantastic. If you were to start off at the earlier levels, there's a lot to be learned in microcorruption as well. So feel free to, I encourage you to check out microcorruption. It's a really cool series. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, queries, concerns, feel free to ping me or ping the chat, and hopefully someone there can help you out with what you're working on. Like, what if we move R14 to R15? Do we getSend to it? What is get? That's what I was checking. What is getSend? finish up with. In fact, does the manual tell us that getSend has a return value? Oh, it's a void, so I shouldn't return anything. Let's just break on getSend. Let's reset, continue. So getSend, R14, the count is OX30, R15 is 3FEE, which is where we're getting stuff to. Let's finish this function. Give it ABCD. Cool, that didn't change either register. So we know that we can do a getSend and not have R14 and R15 get damaged. So, what if we... Don't need that. We don't need this either. What if we return to... Because at the time of the crash, R14 is OXA. So the save return point overwrite, we'll overwrite it with move R14 to R15, ret, hex 44. Buff plus equals, we'll do a getSend, which is 4462. Because the low parts of memory are writable, it's only 4400 onwards that is executable. Let's just try this and see how we go. Let's grab that. Actually, let's just comment this out for simplicity for now. Grab that. Don't need that breakpoint. Do I have a breakpoint on the ret? Yep. So the ret is going to take us to I must have another breakpoint somewhere. I didn't continue, I did an X instead. Continue. So here's the ret. It's about to return to 44.5E, which is the gadget. So keep an eye on the current instruction. We step. Yep, move R14 to R15. Step. Yep, that got done. Then we're going to return to 4462, which I think is getSend. Yep, it is. So we step. Execution is inside getSend. Let's finish this function. We can give more input now. Let's go 41, 42, 43, 44. This is all hex. Send that. Segfault cannot write to execute only page. Is that my A there? Let's go back to the setup memory protection stuff. What am I missing? The first page, everything up to 00FF is executable. Obviously, because that is where our trap is. Alright, so we can't get send to this area of memory. So we've got to pop R11. We can control R14 if we cause the CPU to print a character. Mind you, we can only make that go as high as FF, which is not writable. So that's no use. I just have another poke through the code, look for inspiration. We can move a byte at, we can move the byte at R11 to R15. And we'll puts it, no, we'll loop, put the char, loop, put the char, until R15 becomes 0. And then it'll clobber it with the OXA anyway, and then clear it anyway. So that's not useful for us populating R15. What if we just use mark page writable? Nah, it's not going to work. Because mark page writable takes a page number, not an address, in memory. I mean, we could make the OX8th page writable, but that doesn't mean we can write to OXA. Jeez, this is an annoying song. Music's getting paused till this song finishes. Yeah, the silence is annoying me. The music's going back on. That's useless. It's useless. It's useless. Oh, this is hard. No, that's horrible. I can't do it. That's useless. Oh no, this is useful. In clear 15, that's pretty useless. This here is the function we're in. Can we move R11 to anywhere? Yeah, we can here, but if we get too excited, it's gonna... And basically all it's gonna do is set... Well, this is actually gonna set R15 to OXFF. Like if we pop something into R11, that is above where the stack currently is, it'll allow... Let's set it to OX100. I'm just going to set a breakpoint here and see what this function looks like at the end. There it is. This here, if we were to basically jump in here, with R11 being OX 44 or above, let's say, then that'll remark all the top area of memory as executable, which is fine. We can live through that. And then at the end of the loop, R15 will be OXFF. And R14. I'm going to set a breakpoint at the beginning here. Reset, continue. So at the start of the function, R14 is 0. Let's go next, next, next. Yeah, so this function here is basically going to let R14 and R15 both increment up until they are OXFF. I mean, that might be handy. That gives us the ability to populate R14 and R15 with a pretty high number. How's this music going now? It's not that much better. Oh well. We still can't use this as the target of a get send though, because FF is not writable. I mean, if we were to start with R11 being OX100 and then return to here, then we'd have R15 be 100, this call would happen. I don't know if that call would break because you can't mark the OX100th page executable because it doesn't exist, but maybe it won't break. Then we should fall through the rest of this and ret, and that way R15 will be OX100, R14 might be OX100. And then that becomes somewhere to which we can do a gets n, because page OX1 is writable. And then we can maybe loop back and set that executable. Let's try that. I'm going to leave a breakpoint on this here. Move R11, no, I'm not, I'm going to step through it all anyway. The ROP chain becomes let's go to the pop R11, hex 98, hex 44, pop R11, let's just comment that out, we don't need that for now. Okay, so we're going to pop this here into R11, which is OX100. Then the next thing on, so this pop's going to pop that, and then this is going to be the next thing in the chain. This here is a pointer to the gadget that will I'm going to put a null pointer here. Because this gadget here does a pop R11 towards the end, so we want to have something there to go into R11 so we don't forget about it. Let's see if at the end of this gadget being executed that this is true. And let's see if this is safe to do. Let's try this. Okay, so here's our ret on the stack. We've got a pointer to 4498, which I think was our, yep, pop R11. So we step into it, pop R11. R11 should become OX100. There it is. Then we return into that gadget that is that big loop basically. We step, yep, so we move R11 to R15. So this OX100 should go to R15, step. Then we call mark page executable. So I'm just going to go next and see if things break. See if the CPU goes, no, I can't set that page as executable, that page doesn't exist. No, that looks good. The CPU survived. Now we've got R15 is OX100. R14 is OX100. Let's just go step, step, step. Oh, this is going to keep on going now. Because it's a jump if not equals, not jump if above or equal. Set a breakpoint here, let's continue and see what happens when it keeps on setting page. The 100th page, the 102nd page. Let's just continue. It's going to loop for ages. You can see it ticking over up here. It's going to loop around and crash because it's trying to push a safe return pointer to a non-writable location. That's not worth sitting through. Can we stop? Let PC equal 0000. Okay, that stopped it. Yeah, Excelable, we're trying to unlock a door. What we're doing is a series called Microcorruption. It's an embedded device CTF security challenge where you've got to basically write an exploit to exploit this program code here to cause the door to unlock, is what it is in a nutshell. It's a really cool web series. If you haven't played Microcorruption before, and if you're interested in embedded device security and binary exploitation, you should definitely give it a go. So that theory was not good. It does not let us control these two registers, which is a shame. If we could just rewind the stack a bit, because I don't want the stack to be here. If I could make this page executable and use the stack to put some shellcode there, without it ever being used as the stack to which save return pointers are pushed, would be fine. So I could just set this page onwards, the OX40th page onwards, as being executable. As long as we can keep all the pushing and popping to this region, we're fine. I mean, can I pivot the stack back a bit? How could I pivot the stack? What do the registers look like at the time of the crash? R14 is A, R15 is nothing, R11 is nothing. Good to have you around, Pritch. I'll see you on the tubes, eh? Sorry I'm a bit quiet, I'm just turning some ideas over in my head here. But yeah, good to have you around, Pritch. Alrighty, we're back in a tick. I'm just going to grab some water, step away for a second, clear my head and see how we go. If anyone needs to take a quick break, now's the chance. Let's regroup in like 5 minutes or so. Hopefully I'll have some inspiration hit me in that time. But catch you in a sec.
For you.
And we're back. And I lost 3 people to me needing water. Gee, you're a fickle bunch. It's all good. We'll make do with the hardcore who are left. Where were we? Let's see if we can figure out what to do with what we've got in our kit. We've got a couple of gadgets. We've got this one here which will mark pages based on what's in R11 onwards up to the end of memory as executable. And we can probably just... if we can populate R15, we can go straight to make page executable or make page writable as needed. When we start out, R15 is 0. If we were to go straight to make page writable, would that make the trap break each time we try to trigger it? Gotta try, I guess. 44.9c is mark page writable. What damage does it do to registers? Move 15 to 14, push it, subtract from the stack pointer, call the interrupt, add 10, ret. Like, what if we did that twice? It's all useless. Pointer to make page writable, mark page writable is 9c, hex 44. What if we do it twice? Because if this does break interrupt, then the second time we try it, we should get a crash. Jay said this is a stream for tea enthusiasts. If I go get tea, I'm going to lose 3 more people. I've actually picked up 6 people since I got back. So I've totally got a budget for tea. Are we really going to hold me to this? Do I need to get tea, Frig off Randy? Because I will do it if OJ said I have to. Let's reset this. Don't need that breakpoint. Continue to the ret. So we step into the ret. Here we are at mark page writable. Let's finish this function. Yeah. So trying to mark that first page as writable breaks the throwing of interrupts. That's no bueno. Actually, this here is interesting. Because when you mark pages executable, like, because if we can't control R15 to make an arbitrary page executable or as needed, mind you, what would we make executable? Like we could just basically set the stack up and return to here, which is going to set up the status register for us, call interrupt, and if we kind of just populate the stack with these as needed, then we can make arbitrary pages executable by referencing their page number based on the stack, not having to use R15. So I mean that gives us something. No, Alana, I cannot do an O. I used to be able to, but then I kind of stopped. Once I got it once, I was like, all right, I'm good, I'm done, I'm retiring from the O's. Vape Nash, indeed. Like we could return straight to here and then set up the stack. But what would we make executable anyway? If we make this here what if we make this page executable? Put our shellcode at the beginning of our buffer. Have some ROP-NOPs here if we need them. Why is stack one all the way up there? Let's do some pushes and stuff. Yeah, like what if we just mark this page executable, put our shellcode there, and then leave this here for the stack to do its natural pushing to as it calls functions so that it doesn't crash when it tries to call a function. And what if we set up the stack to basically do this for us based on returning to here? Let's get some door unlock shellcode. Actually, that's not. Let's reuse this shellcode here. That'll be 8 characters worth, which is less than the 16 character password. So let's grab that, put that there, change this to 16 minus the length of buff to account for this nonsense here. Can't type. Place a lot of shellcode. Let's just do some pop R11s, some padding, SRP overwrite. Let's get rid of those. Just want to do this and get a look at the stack. Don't need that. Here's our ret. Yeah, so we're going to fill this is semicolon capital A. So this here is the 4. Was it pop R4? Pop R11. That's our placeholder shellcode. Here's some padding, and then here's our save return point override. We're going to put a return pointer there. I can just use a ROP-NOP sled later on if I need to push some stuff out. We'll see if I need to push stuff out when I get a crash. Cool. Let's actually set a breakpoint on mark page executable. I want to see how this looks. So here we're marking the 0th page as executable. That's a terrible example. Here we're marking the 44th page as executable. That's something that we can keep an eye out for on the stack. So the first thing we do is move R15 to R14. Next. We push 0, we push R14. So here's our 0. That's what we need to do to make stuff executable, as opposed to writable. Here's our 44, the page number we want to make executable. Then we subtract 6 from the stack pointer, next, over here. So at the time that if we wanted to basically return to here so that we could set up the status register to perform a mark page writable interrupt, then we need to have the stack pointer pointing at 6 of junk. It can be anything. We just need to account for this, what would have normally happened, because we're not going to actually have this be executed. Or are we? Yes, let's execute that, so that way we don't have to waste stack space. No, let's not do that, because we want to have space to put some more rock gadgets. We want that space. We need to have 6 junk characters. Then the pointer to, the page number we want to make executable, and a null byte. Or a null pointer. Then we head to 44BE. That will make an arbitrary page number executable. Let's grab this address, 44BE. I didn't need to copy that. Hex BE, hex 44. So to satisfy that, here's our 6 bytes of junk. So at the time this gets returned to, SP will slide along to point to this next thing on the stack. Page I'm going to make executable, is it? Yep, little endian. So let's make page number 4000, page number 40 become executable. I'm just going to put some D's there and then count along to see where the next. So no, let's get rid of these 6 nulls. I don't need them anymore because there's a stack adjustment being done by this gadget, so we should be fine. Let's crank this down a instruction. Make page executable. We don't want it to be. Let's go up. Yeah. 44BA. Yeah, so it gets rid of the need for that junk. I don't think we need that junk after all. We don't need that breathing room. So it now points to this here. I don't want those tabs. Why are you giving me tabs all of a sudden? Why? Ah. There we go. This here is our writable stuff, and then a bunch of Ds. I want to count to those to see what the stack's looking like. I wouldn't say I'm at the stage of goodness. I've got a long way to go. How much experience do I have doing binary stuff? Probably about 3 years doing binary stuff. I've still got a long way to go in binary. I've been doing security professionally for almost 5 years now. I can almost get my CISP, hooray, doing a variety of incident response and application security type stuff. But in terms of strictly binary, it's been about 3 years, I think. And for having done it for 3 years, I should be much further along in it than I am. I've just been slack. Let's just see how this looks. See what I've mucked up. Continue to the ret. Here's the ret. So we step and we're here. And as I said, when we get to here, we expect SP to point to the page number to make executable, then a null pointer. SP points to, yep, the page number we want to make executable, then the null pointer. Then it's going to sub 6 from SP to set things up a bit. Step, let's go next, let's go next. It would have made page 41 become executable. Then it adds 10 to the stack pointer. Did I do 40 or 41 then? 40. Okay, so now we're in executable memory about to return to this pointer. So this pointer here, the first of the Ds, should be 4006, and we should be able to put shellcode here. Why did I put that candidate shellcode there? I know why. Because I was going to prepend the ROP chain with the shellcode. I was going to do things back. I've done things backwards, but it should still work. As long as next thing on the stack needs to be 4006. Buff plus equals hex 06, hex 40. We don't need this anymore. We'll bring it down here. It is still placeholder shellcode. And we should be able to do 4 pop R11s and have it work. That's much nicer than I thought it was going to end up being. Yeah, we just return halfway into the make page writable function. We could have used either readable or writable because this here is the flag that says whether it's writable or executable. And I've used writable. Have I used writable? I just want to get this straight. 44BA. BA, 44BA. No, I used executable. And to do executable, we need to push 0, yep. Really, we can use this gadget to make things executable or writable. And really we've got the choice of doing 0 for executable. Otherwise, what do we push 1 for writable? So we could really do either or, but we're choosing to do executable. So page number OX40, which is the stack. This is executable. Pointer to shellcode on the stack. By the time this here gets returned to, which is a pointer to this here, this has been made executable. Mostly this is what we're worried about. I mean, the pointers need to be executable, but this code here needs to be executable. Don't need the D's. Let's see how this goes. Continue to the ret. Yep, there's the ret. So we step. So here we're doing the make page 40 executable. So we go next, 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 next. Stack pointer now points at 4006 little endian, which is the address of this shellcode here. So if we step into this ret, see we're about to execute a pop R11, and one of two things will happen. Either we'll get a seg fault because we failed to make this page executable, or R11 will change and will become probably 3B41, I'd say. So let's, if we can see this change, like we're home and hosed, we've got execution. Step. There it is. We can execute shellcode, so that's cool. It's very cool. What are we going to do with it? We're going to have to call an interrupt to unlock the door, keeping in mind the stack pointer is right on top of the program counter, which might get in our way a bit. What was our shellcode from last night? Not last night, the other night. Lagos. Push 7F. Push should be fine because it should float upwards. And then we call this interrupt, which we don't have anymore. We don't have that function in this code, so we may have to re-implement this here. Which is fine, we can do that. In fact, I think I wrote down what I wanted to do earlier. This here, the interrupt number is specified via status register. In 7F, the status register needs to be set to FF00, then we call OX10. What's going on here? Am I using Debian inside of VirtualBox? No, I'm using Debian bare metal. Debian's my daily OS. I heart it very much. So I'm just using Debian straight up. This here is URSI running just on bare metal on my host. This here is Debian running inside Docker. So I am running out of a container, and Chromium here is also running in that container. So it is in a Docker container just to separate my work and my play a bit, so I don't accidentally go popping things like the file browser in my browser and showing off my personal files. So yeah, this is actually running inside Docker on Debian, and this is actually running here on Debian. So no, I do use VirtualBox often, but I'm not right now. I've got free protection. I'm not the best to ask about desktop protection. I don't use Windows on the desktop anymore. I run pretty loose and fast on Linux, but I do make sure anything that I'm unsure about, I run in a Docker container. So that way, if bad code does try to start being bad, at least it's somewhat isolated. So I prefer to do security through isolation and security through being very careful what I do on my computer, as opposed to relying on a desktop piece of antivirus. There's been a lot of security research lately on antivirus and how it potentially makes you less secure or more secure. Depends who you ask as to whether you should use antivirus, but I don't, because I don't run an OS for which there is really a reasonable antivirus package. Yeah, same as Barney. Barney doesn't use Windows, so we both play it a bit loose and fast. Doesn't Linux need some sort of security? Yeah, I mean it does. Like if you go running malicious software on your Linux box, you're still going to be in a world of hurt. You can still get malware on Linux. You can still get malware on OS 10. What I choose to use to protect myself is more so, yeah, safe practices and isolation, such as running stuff in VirtualBox or running stuff inside a Docker container when it's code that I'm not 100% sure about. I've got a long way to go. I would love to be able to use something like Cube's OS, which makes that basically bundled up part of the user experience. Is everything, basically every application purpose gets its own VM. So you've got your Chrome in the banking VM, you've got your Chrome in the work VM, and you've got your Chrome in the personal VM, and you try to keep your activities separate so that if any one gets compromised, it isolates the compromise to that particular function. I would love to be able to run something like Cubes, but I do have some needs for my computer that mean I can't run Cubes. Basically, I need VirtualBox for arbitrary VMs. So I'm choosing to do security through isolation and security through good practices rather than through a security package like antivirus. That's just me though. If you ask 5 different people in InfoSec what you should do to keep yourself safe, you'll probably get 5 different answers, because there's a lot that you can do and some that you should do, but there's a lot of different opinions floating around as to how you should keep yourself safe. The best thing to go is to hell with it all and break stuff instead. It's much more fun. So yeah, let's write some shellcode. Let's just go and grab this real quick. Int 7f is status register that, then call OX10. Let's delete this placeholder shell. Actually, let's just comment it out. Buff plus equals, we want to do a status register equals ff00. Let's just pinch this here. Instead of doing move 9100 to status register, we want to move ff00. So I'll swap out the 91. Buff plus equals, then we want to do a call OX10, which we can steal from here. So this here is the pointer of the shellcode in the stack will now become this, which should be setting up the status register for a door unlock, because FF we decided is the way to trigger interrupt 7F. It needs to be basically hex 7F how do you do or OX80? Yep. Yeah, there you go. It needs to be to get interrupt 7F, you need to OR that high byte with OX80s to get FF, and that's the high byte, so the low byte stays 0. So that there is what we needed to do. Let's delete this, delete that. We need to move that into the status register and then call the trap to actually trigger the interrupt. So let's give this a go. There's our payload. Let's reset. Get rid of those 2 breakpoints. Continue. There's our payload. We continue to the ret. There we go. We step into the ret, and we're here. That's right. we are at the half of the function to make the 40th page be executable. So we next our way through this function. We'll just go next, 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 next. So here's the ret. So we'll step into this ret, which should return to the shellcode on the stack. Step. So here we are executing the stack. We're going to move FF00 into the status register. So we should see the status register here change. There it is. Then we call OX10, which if we just continue based on this status register, should unlock the door. Segmentation fault cannot write to execute only page. Dang it! I know exactly what I did wrong. Because that call tried to push to the executable page. The way I was doing it before was correct. We do need to put our shell code before all this nonsense. That's exactly what we need to do. Meaning we need to make the 3F page executable. Make this 3F. Page number 3F becomes executable. Pointed to the shellcode on the stack. The shellcode will instead be at this address here, which is at 3FEE. 3FEE. EE3F. We don't need that placeholder shellcode anymore. This shellcode here needs to move to before the padding. Oops, put it there. So now what we're doing is the save return point override is still going to the same location to make a page executable writable. To make a page executable, I should say. The page number we're making executable is the 3F page, which is the page before what we were doing before. We're going to make it executable, and then when it comes to the point of the shellcode on the stack that we should return to after having made this page executable is at 3FEE, which 3FEE is the start of our A's right here. So this is the code we're going to execute. Ooh, there was some damage here. How big is our shell code? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's, that did not get corrupted by whatever this nonsense that got pushed to the stack, probably by this function here. Yeah. No. Yeah. This call here pushed the address 44C6 to here, which thankfully, if we put our shell code at the very beginning, shouldn't get damaged by that push, so we're safe. So yeah, the pointer that we return to after making the page 3F executable is inside the page 3F, which has been made executable, and it's at offset EE in that page, which is these A's, and instead of the A's, we prepend it with this shellcode here, which then when it comes time to do this call, hopefully the stack pointer will be somewhere in the 40th page, and we should be safe, but we'll see if that theory holds up. Here's our payload, reset, continue, in it goes, and then we continue to the ret. Yep, there's the ret. Here's the pointer that we return to. We step. We're going to subtract 6 from the stack pointer. This is close because this call is going to push a pointer to the 3F page, but it's the call that does the write that also makes the page not writable, so that should be safe. So we'll next our way through this function. We'll go next, next. What we're doing here is we're making the 3F page be executable, which is this page here, which is this page here. So we call OX10, let's go next. Yeah, that didn't crash, that's good. So now all this here is executable, not writable. All we're going to do though is add OXA to the stack pointer. We go next. Stack pointer is now here. We ret. So let's step into the ret, which sends execution to our shellcode here. You know, the 324000FF is our move FF00 to the stack register, which is here. So if we step into this, we should see the status register become FF00. There it is. And then we call OX10, which is, of course is going to push to the stack, which is fine because the stack is now in the 40th page, which is still writable. It's this page here that we made executable. So we're straddling that page boundary quite nicely. If we continue and let this call happen for the interrupt, well there you go, if you hover over it, interrupt 127, which is OX7F, hopefully the door will unlock. If we continue, there it is, door's unlocked. So again, what we did was put our shellcode here, and then we just put enough A's to taking into account the length of the buff so far, which is going to be 8. We did enough A's to take us out to the save return pointer overwrite offset, which is a pointer to halfway through the make page executable function, which based on these parameters here on the stack made the 3F page executable. This here is the executable flag. This here is the page number 3F, which made the page containing the shellcode executable. We then return into that page, into that code there. We execute it, and when it comes time to do this call OX10, the stack is in the 40th page down here, or the OX 40th page down here, which ensures that the save return pointer being pushed to the stack as part of the call doesn't write to a executable page, it writes to a writable page. So we're home and hosed. Door's unlocked, we can solve it in the field. There's our final payload. Paste it in, send it off, and the door's unlocked. So we're down to the last 2. I'm not going to do them tonight. I'm pretty tired, so I'm going to call it. Chernobyl will be up next, which if Bangalore was worth 100 points, Lagos was worth 150 points. Yeah, Lagos was harder than Bangalore, that's for sure. Based on all these point values, Chernobyl being worth 300 points should be about twice as hard as Lagos. So I reckon Chernobyl, which will be this Sunday. I don't think I've got anything on this Sunday. Pretty sure I'm streaming this Sunday. So Chernobyl will be most likely what I'm up against on Sunday. If we here, we can mark Bangalore as done. Any questions, queries, concerns about how that exploit worked before I head off for the night? Yes, Excellable, still going strong, but I'm about to bow out. If there's no questions, if there's no interest in what was going on there, I will head off. But I know there is chat delay, so I'll give you a little bit longer to think of your burning questions and then send them my way. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting too. I've actually never finished Hollywood. Hollywood's worth 400 points, and it was horrible. I spent a couple hours on it and just went, no. So I don't know if I'll be able to do that one this time around. I might take a bit of a peek offline and see if I can get a bit further than I did last time, and if so, then I'll bring the effort online. But otherwise there'll be a whole bunch of struggling and not a whole bunch of solving. So we'll have to see how Hollywood goes, but Chernobyl should be good fun. My pleasure, Alana. Glad you could hang around and join us. It was good to have you here. It's good to have you all here. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for watching me be dumb. Any questions, queries, concerns about how that one went tonight, you can always hit me up on Slack or IRC or Twitter or however you reach me. I'll be, I'm pretty sure I'm free this Sunday, so if everything goes to plan, I'll be streaming Sunday. Feel free to hit the little follow button if you're wanting to be alerted to when I'm streaming nonsense next time. Otherwise, I will catch you all on the tubes, hopefully on Sunday. Take it easy, everyone.